Welcome again to Small Marriage Groups. I hope you all have been enjoying these sessions that we've been going through. And we've been hearing many great things. And so we're going to jump right into it. We're in chapter 5. And just in case you were reading the book, this chapter was pretty long. And so had some great nuggets in there. And so introduced the word core, and we're going to talk a little about that. But the title of the chapter is The Rules of a Good Fight. And so it introduced this word, reintroduced this word core. And it talks about this. It says a good fight has good rules, and rules are needed to ensure fairness and prevent injury. Now, marriage is neither a competition nor a game, but because sometimes it involves conflict, which it does, my goodness, it does, a few good rules will go far towards ensuring good outcomes. And so here the acronym they use, CORE, has C is for cooperation, O is for ownership, the R is for respect, and the E is for empathy.
Yep. So we're going to go through what each one stands for. They're going to give us some rules, but keep in mind, some of these rules also are tools. And as we said, it's a lot of information in this chapter. So we're going to just give you the snippets or the little tiny pieces. So y'all need to go back, read the book, because this gives you such good information and gives you so many different tools that you can use for communication in regards to conflict. So go back and read the book. But the first one is the C in CORE, stands for cooperation. So it says good fighters fight for a win-win. They have a collaborative attitude that says, if you win, I win, and it's not about me.
And so here in cooperation, it has 3 rules. So each word is going to have some rules within it. And so here in cooperation, rule number 1 is share withholds. Now,
which we were like, what is that?
What does that mean? But what it's really talking about is when we have negative feelings. Now, negative feelings.
It could be positive too.
But mostly negative, right? Mostly negative, because remember, 85% of our thoughts a lot of times are negative. So, and we have tendencies to bury those negative feelings because, you know what, I don't want to say nothing. Right. I don't want to talk about it. And this might cause a little argument. And we have tendencies to bury these particular negative feelings. And here the book talks about there's a high rate of resurrection.
Or explosion.
So that means it's going to pop up. It's going to explode. It can cause these particular things, and those, that's the same thing. It's like having a moment where you say something. It's like, why'd you bring that up? And you're like, I think I just said something wrong. Why'd you say that?
Or it could be how everybody kind of fits into a certain grid. You could be passive. You could be passive aggressive. You could be assertive. You could be aggressive in how you communicate and how you deal with things. Before I got kind of better in this area, I was passive, and I would tend to bury things and bury, and they would just keep pressing up on each other until I had a what?
Explosion.
And I would literally go berserk, and I would go berserk on my coworker's husband, all kind of different things. So
it wasn't that bad. She acting like she was, gangster or something like that. But her voice would go a little higher.
But to me, these are the kind of things, as you guys are getting it, it's not just for your marriage. Of course, it is to be a blessing to your marriage, but it helped me to be a better coworker. It helped me to be better with my girlfriends and just be a better communicator and know how to deal with conflict, period. So it's a good thing all the way around. So share, withhold. So what they said with this, if you feel up to it, because we were saying this might not be for the young at heart, this kind of tool. You may want to wait to do this when you feel like maybe it won't be a sensitive topic, because they said share 2 positive things and 1 negative thing to your spouse. I love how you did the laundry last night and put it up. You did do that. And I enjoyed having sex the other night. But when you talked about my mama the other day or whatever, that made me do. And all they want you to say is, thank you. So we're saying, if somebody gives you 2 positives and 1 negative, and it's going to create even more friction in your marriage or more intense fellowship, then maybe this is something you save for later, or maybe because they said to do this weekly. Maybe just do it once a month.
Yeah, but the point is to make the attempt. You want to at least make some type of effort in trying this, whether it's whether it's a weekly meeting or everything like that. Maybe you talk about the budget and you want to talk about your relationship and how things have been going. Try it out and see what happens. But again, everybody's at different places, so you want to be aware, definitely aware of that particular thing. And
Right.
and the purpose again of this particular rule is to diffuse buried emotions.
So then you have rule number 2 for cooperation, and that's rate the depth of your disagreements.
Now, this is another one because I was kind of like conflict card. They introduced in this group conflict cards. Now, Angela liked it,
I did.
but I'm like, okay. At first I looked at it, it's like I was thinking that you have to have actual cards to take with
It's
it, but
supposed to be in the app.
it's in the app and
Yeah.
everything like that. And you have your phone with you all the time. So when you kind of get into that moment, pull out your phone and go to the app and start rating this
Yeah.
disagreement.
So looking at the disagreement, you can rate it together or you can rate it separately. How big of a disagreement is this for you? Is it a 1, which was it's not a big deal, or a number 10, which was
Over my
not over my dead body. So we were like, it should never be that intense. But if this is something you guys think might be a good thing, it'll at least help you to kind of enable you to see, is it worth fighting for?
Mhm. Now, for cooperation, rule 3 is to agree to disagree. Now,
That's a good one.
and it says agree to disagree when necessary. Now, we've been there before. Many of us know this particular situation, and just like my wife said, she was saying that a lot of times when we're arguing, a lot of times we're saying the same thing.
Mhm.
And sometimes we have to realize, again, it's listening, it's paying attention to what a person is saying. And sometimes, let's just agree to disagree,
Mhm.
because there's nothing wrong with disagreeing. We might feel strongly about a particular area and there's nothing wrong with it. And here the book talks about there's are signs that may be a time to raise up mutual white flag and to
Yeah, if you
surrender.
can't come to an agreement,
Yeah.
nobody's opinion is moving from left or right, then might be the time to give you a little white flag.
Yeah.
And they're saying also some problematic issues, they might not get solved, but they can be managed. And we thought that's a great thing to think about. Sometimes you are looking at like, this has to change and be resolved, and it has to be done this way right now. Sometimes it's something more where you can sit down together and figure out how to manage it together.
Yeah. Let's jump into the O. The O is ownership. Good fighters own their piece of the conflict. No. Okay, all right. Listen, they know, okay, a good fight. They know that criticism is for cowards and blame and shame never leads to positive outcomes.
And we was like, dang.
That's
yeah,
very true.
but it's
though.
very, very good.
Very true.
Yeah. Yeah, instead, they take the courageous step to admitting their mistake. And I love this part right here. They know it's not about who is wrong, but what is wrong that counts.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, it's been tremendous when you own up. You know what? I was wrong. I'm sorry. Listen, this is what I did, and I need to start making some adjustments.
Mhm.
To the other person, that's huge. You still might be upset. You still might be, feel a certain way about it. But man, they're owning up to it. Your spouse is owning up to something. You want to celebrate that. you know?
Right. So that goes to rule number 1 for ownership. Apologize when you mean it. So that's a big part of it. Apologize. Don't just apologize to get them to shut up.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't just do that, but really mean it, and it's coming from the heart. The other thing that we will say, that your heart must be in it, but the thing that we'll add on to this too is that we have had it in, whether it's relationships that we have with my girlfriends or people like that, or just with one another, we have had to learn that saying sorry, if you say it consistently over and over and over and over again, but there's no action that comes with that apology, after a while your sorry does not mean squat to that person.
And you got to ask the question, what keeps us from saying sorry many times? And a lot of times it's our own pride.
Right.
It's a lot of times it's just pride, and that's keeping you from just acknowledging that,
Right.
hey, I was wrong, you was right, or I own this.
Right.
I own this. This is all me, and I'm sorry for it, and I want to make the adjustment.
And I have apologized to people before, even him. I might not agree with what you're saying, but I am sorry that I made you feel that way. And sometimes that has gone to even helping to heal things. So an apology can be literally has the power to repair harm, mend relationships, and soothe wounds and even heal broken hearts. So an apology goes a long way. The next one is ownership rule number 2, which is practice the XYZ formula.
XYZ. So that's basically saying that when you kind of sense I'm about to say something like, babe, you never ever fix the chicken right. Well, we know.
I would be like, excuse me.
Yeah. That's not what you said last night, or that's not what you said last time I fixed the chicken. When you start saying you never, or you are,
or you always, right?
You always, it's not going to go good.
It's a difference between being critical and complaining. So being critical always starts with that you never ever, or you always, or you know you are that is being critical. Complaining is basically saying what I feel when when this happens, this is how I feel this way. So a complaint focuses on a specific behavior, and a criticism attacks the other person's character. And that's what this tool is meant to do. X stands for thinking about the situation. Y is when you do. And then Z, I feel. So it's helping you to put together how you can say it and diffuse the argument.
And be specific. So if you are making a legitimate complaint, which is nothing wrong with complaining, be specific, be specific about what what area is affecting. I feel when you do this, it makes me feel this way. One of the things that we had was tone. I always had this tone when we say, and she said, you have tone. I didn't understand that. I was just saying what I was saying, but
he was like, no, I don't. And I was like, right there.
So I had to own it, I really had to own it. And when she said, I feel that way, then it made me start making the adjustments and learning how to bring it down a little bit.
And I think a lot of times we'll think, you're saying that's how you feel, but that's not how I meant it, or that's not what I'm doing. And you again need to think about it, but that is how they're perceiving you. So give them the opportunity to listen and try to think about, is this something that we, can work on? The next one is R is in court is for respect. Good fighters steer clear of contempt. Nothing good ever comes from belittling your partner. Ain't that the truth? And that's why respect is so essential. We know respect is big for men, but it's big for women too.
Yeah.
This core element creates a sense of safety, even in tumultuous throes of chaos. And when two people remain respectful of each other, they recognize their differences, but they maintain honor, civility, and the value within the relationships.
So respect number 1 is the Bobby Brown one, I say. Don't be crow.
Because you'll never be that crow.
Yeah, don't be crow. John Gottman identified that it is the single most important predictor in a couple's failing relationship is contempt. Contempt is the attempt to make your spouse feel about an inch tall, and it's toxic love, and it's poisonous in a good fight.
Nasty.
And this is huge. You got to watch the words. If we go to the Bible, that says life and death is in the power of the tongue. You can speak life over your spouse, or you can speak death. And,
right. And then if you speak in death and they tripping all the time,
Yeah. So you might have a little, you probably part of the problem in the way you're speaking. And so here the book also talks about contempt saps the sense of respect for your spouse. And we've all been there before. When you have a moment with your boss, you have a moment with your child
or your spouse, and you're like, I've lost respect for you.
Yeah, somebody lies, or somebody says something really harsh. It's almost you lose a sense of respect for that person, and we want to avoid that.
And it also says it fuels your sense of self-righteousness, so don't want that too. So it says it can be the barrier. Criticism is the barrier to ownership, but contempt is the barrier to respect. So the antidote for all of this is appreciation. So practicing appreciation for your spouse can literally flip this whole situation around.
Come on now. All right, respect number 2, take time out when needed. When it's getting tense, or remember we was talking about in our team meeting for the leaders, tense fellowships. When tense fellowships are happening, time out.
Just pull out a timeout. And what this one talked about is having a plan beforehand, before you need to do this. in regards to how are we going to do this timeout? Does this mean this is it? Am I going to say to you, I really want to talk to you about this right now, but I need a moment? And then what's the plan for that afterwards? So read the book. It gives a lot of great points on how to create a timeout plan that is productive for you.
All right. Now, the last letter, the E, is for empathy. It says, good fighters step into each other's shoes. Trading places is the quickest way to ensure positive and healthy outcomes from conflict. And here, rule number one, it says, read your partner's mind.
Which we was like, you can't read nobody's mind.
Well, sometimes you've been married long enough, you can't.
Yeah, sometimes we say the same thing.
Yeah.
We do. Yeah.
I know exactly what you was thinking.
Yeah, we do have those moments. Okay.
Yeah.
But in this tool, they were saying in interaction, we automatically comprehend certain stuff, read people's body language, et cetera, tone of voice, et cetera. And they said in this exercise, if you read your partner's body language and tone, et cetera, ask your partner, can I read your mind? If he says yes, then I tell him what I picked up on and I ask, was I right? And he either tells me I was very, very wrong or I was on point. And so it's a good exercise to kind of get that out. And so you have a better understanding of where your partner is coming from. And they said, just don't do this if you're not being genuine about it. If you don't want to truly understand what's going on, don't do it.
And then our last one, the last rule, which we love, it says, send up a prayer.
Yes.
Prayer. And we're just going to read this to you guys. Prayer lowers your defenses and open your eyes to your partner's perspective. I'm telling you, it's the most loving way to approach a conflict. It's a, babe, let's pray about this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go ahead and pray. And let me tell you, I'm telling you, when you join each other's, you join spirits, and even when you're differing from perspectives and ideals, or I don't like this taste, and you feel like this is a threatening place, pray. Right. Here it says in the book, a couple who prays together have better sex. Come on.
And I would say, come on now. But I would say a lot of times when he gets into his, man of God moments and he's praying over me, or he's praying over a situation, or he's praying over our kids, I'm like, dang, he's sexy.
Let's pray.
Let's pray right now. So, and then it says 83% of couples who pray together say they have a very happy life together. It also says couples who pray together are healthier. Praying for your spouse reduces stress and the strain in the person doing the praying, making empathy far easier.
And then lastly, research shows that praying for your partner can bring you back to the common goals. When you pray, they become one with their spouse. It's a subtle shift that occurs, and praying regulates your emotion, and it never leads to anger.
Meaning you don't ever go to prayer and come out of prayer talking about, I'm gonna go slash that fool's tires. That don't happen, right? I also was doing some research on this online, and they said literally couples who pray together have a 1% divorce rate. So God has given us prayer as a tool to help fight all the things that come against our marriages. Not just to show us. Sometimes prayer shows me, and I'm not so focused on him, but show me, show us up, and build us up together. So a lot of times we talk about sex as a glue, but prayer goes even further than glue. It unites us as one. It helps me to have empathy for him, and it helps me to have a different perspective on a situation. So bringing in that third party, so a third cord is not easily broken, is what this is talking about.
All right, married couples, it's time to work on our core. So we'll be talking to you soon. Peace.
All right. Have a good questions. Have a good meeting. Bye-bye.